Cheers.
We were just talking, and it sounds like there's some lost people floating around because it's the first session. So we're gonna give everybody a couple more minutes to. We don't know if they're coming here or not, but she just said that she was giving lots of people directions. So we're gonna give everybody a couple more minutes just to figure out where they're going, which I had a feeling would happen the first time, that everybody's trying to figure out where they're going. And in case you haven't figured it out, the QR code and the tiny URLs go to the same spot. So whichever one you want to use, and it's my slide deck. So, but it has the links and stuff in it, so you probably do want to jump in there.
It's YouTube Music. Download the app today and get a trial of Music Premium on us. Restrictions apply.
Alright, we'll use that as our clue to get started here. welcome to You Can Do What with Google Slides. QR code and the tiny URL take you to the same spot, which is a copy of the slide deck, if you haven't heard me say that already. I am Emily Sattler. I teach 7th grade history at a cyber school. If you are someone who needs this information, I am a member of PACT, hint hint, someone who might need that information. My Twitter handle is up there. You're more than welcome to follow me, connect with me later. I'm also a Nearpod pioneer, and I do a lot with Nearpod too. It's kind of ironic that I'm presenting this because my school actually does not use Google Slides. We're not a Google school. So a lot of what I'm presenting are either things that you can do presenting as view only, or having your kids create with various workarounds. If you're not a school that uses Google, but most of you are probably in here because your school does use Google. And I'll go into why I am the one presenting this session here in a minute. So I'm going to flip back over to my computer. But we have the poll everywhere, so you can click on it, and it should take you to that live view. I'm going to jump out of the presenter mode here so you can go to This is actually not one that I use regularly, so bear with me for a second. I set this up last night. There we go. So what ways do you use Google Slides? Because I'm sure you guys use Google Slides a lot of ways. Is it working? No. Okay. Then we'll just share out. We'll verbally do it. What are some ways that you use Google Slides? We'll skip the poll everywhere. Go for it. Oh, I like that idea. Yeah, she said doing lesson plans.
I use it for like interactive notebooks versus using like a Google Doc. I like being able to like, set the background image and then adding text boxes.
So she said using interactive notebooks where you can set the background image and adding text boxes for the kids to fill in.
Digital word wall or vocabulary wall.
Digital word walls with vocabulary.
Interactive images. We had problems with ThingLink, so that was our answer.
I like that. So recreating your own thing links. So making your own interactive images to click on. And that's one of the things we're actually going to talk about, how to make things like that.
Virtual museums.
Ooh, virtual museums.
I do a lot of basic tech stuff, like how to copy and paste a picture, how to type, how to click and drag.
So like basic how-to
elementary
documents.
Yes.
Yeah, how to do things.
Yeah.
Own ebooks. Anybody else?
Professional development. Presentations.
Yeah, presentations, obviously. All right, sorry, whoops. Jumped ahead there. So I called this my ground rules, but they're not really rules. There are a ton of templates and resources in these presentations. Use them. Feel free to use them. That's why I'm giving them to you. They are all set, so when you open them, you'll be prompted to make a copy. And if you don't know how to do that, let me know and I can show you that trick. Edit them, use them, all of that good stuff. So this is why I started with this presentation. is because I made a virtual archaeologist dig similar to probably the virtual museum. So that's what we're going to start off with. And you're going to pretend like you're students in my 7th grade class for a minute. So I'm going to give you some time to just explore the virtual archaeologist dig, and then I'm going to tell you how I made it, because this can really be adapted to any classroom. I teach 7th grade, but you can make it harder, you can make it easier. So you're going to become an archaeologist, you're going to play around, and then we're going to talk about it. So, assuming you're in the presentation, I put that tiny URL and the QR code up again just in case you need it. Go ahead and click on those links. If you click the dig site, the first slide will also take you to the notes. You don't have to fill it out. I just wanted you to see what I did with my 7th graders. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes here, play around with it, play around with the dig site, explore. I'll just like walk around and answer some questions while you're playing with it, and then we'll talk about it. If you guys, I'm getting a bunch of requests for access. If you go to make a copy, then you'll have your own copy. Just go to File, Make a Copy. Alright, we're doing some troubleshooting back there, but we got it. I did forget to say at the beginning, so I apologize for this. When you opened up this slide deck and it prompted you to make a copy, that's a tip that I picked up. So feel free to take notes if you want in the speaker notes section, because you all now have your own copy. So, forgot to remind you about that in the beginning. Sorry about that. So now that you had some time to explore, what did you guys think about that? Did you like it? Did you not like it? So when I was making it, I really wanted my 7th graders, because I teach at a cyber, so a lot of times we can't have those hands-on experiences. So that was the best hands-on experience that I could come up with, because my students live all across the state of Pennsylvania, so we couldn't take a field trip anywhere. So even though we couldn't take a field trip anywhere, they could become archaeologists and go on an archaeologist dig. So if you've ever done a hyperdoc, that's very similar to a hyperdoc, which is what we're going to talk about next. So this is actually what my students are working on right now. They're working on a choice project. So this is another idea of linking. So if you click this on your copy, it will again prompt you to make a copy. But this is what it looks like. I can't do everything at once. and the mouse isn't gonna work up there. So my students have all of these choices to work on this week. They need to do 3 activities because I'm here for 3 days. In cyber school it's a little bit different, so they just don't have class when I'm here. So they have 3 activities, 1 for each day. But again, these are all hyperlinked. So they will click on whichever activity they want to do. So let's just say they want to do an essay. They click on the essay, and it takes them to the slide with the directions. Let's actually put this in present mode. Takes them to the slide with the directions, and then they can click to see the rubric, and then if they decide they don't want to actually do the essay, they can go back to the choices. And again, they can choose something different. Maybe they want to write a song. This will take them to the Flipgrid, which is where they're going to record their song once they finish writing it. Here's the rubric, and back to the choices. So this setup is very similar to the virtual archaeologist setup, which is why I'm kind of showing you these together, because a lot of the tools that I used go hand in hand. Which were actually, I put so again, this is another template. Again, I have 7th graders, so this may or may not be age appropriate for your students. But this is a Google Slides Twitter template. If you click it, you will be prompted to make a copy of the template. Doesn't quite match Twitter, but if you don't want your kids actually tweeting out anything, because I know everybody's social media policy at their school is a little different. We don't actually do anything with social media at my school, but I can have, and this is one of their choices too, to be able to tweet like they were in my case, I'm a history teacher, historical person. So this is one of their choices. They can pick a person and come up with, they need to do 6 tweets like them. And this is one of those tasks that's higher up on the DOK level. So they can tweet like they are Thomas Jefferson or Julius Caesar or any one of those people. And the kids really get into it because they like to think like they're that person. I've seen it with like even science concepts, like tweet like they're an animal, or what's a butterfly thinking when they're in metamorphosis, or things like that. And again, if you click that picture, it'll take you to the template to prompt you through it. Facebook template, this is the old Facebook. There's not a newer template that I can find out there. readwritethink.org has a profile that you can use and fill out. I've used that, and that's actually, my kids are doing that. That's their option. A lot of the kids don't use Facebook. I think it's for old people. That's what my kids tell me. They're like, Facebook isn't cool anymore. But again, this is one of those activities that's higher up on the DOK level. So another option, so you have it for your kids if you want to use it or not. I have my kids make a Facebook of Siddhartha every year after they get over the, I don't use Facebook, it's dumb. They do get into it. They like thinking like him. And again, it's one of those creation tasks that's higher up there. They have to figure out what books would he like, what sorts of things would he say, where would he be, A lot of my kids put him under the tree. Who would he be friends with? Would he have friends? So things like that. So, choosing your own adventure uses this same idea of linking slides to create a story. And this one doesn't link anywhere. This is basically the template. And John Craig, who's at Coach John Craig on Twitter, shared this template with me. He also shared another GIF that we'll look at in a couple minutes. If you're trying to have your kids write a story, this is a great template to follow. You can use a Google Slides to make your own template. Make your own choose your own adventure story. If you're going to do that, I highly suggest having them fill out a graphic organizer, probably on paper first, before you put it in slides, because it really helps the kids think through what has to go on what slide, because the kids get confused when you start having to like click this for choice 1, click this for choice 2, and what needs to go on what slide. Because when you start linking things, it can get a little confusing. And I'm going to show you that linking process now, actually. We're going to come back to that. So when you are linking things, a couple pitfalls. I'm going to show you. This is where. I forgot to open up that. If you'll notice, which you might have, if you click anywhere aside from the specific links, you don't go anywhere. That took me a really long time to figure out how to do, because normally when you click on a Google slide, it just advances to the next slide. I didn't want it to do that because I knew my kids would click everywhere other than the specific link that I wanted them to. So the way to fix that is to use a transparent box. Took me a long time to figure that out. So transparent boxes are your friend. I suggest making them a color first and then changing the box to transparent so you don't lose it. So the way this is set up is there's a transparent box over top of everything. So that way if they click anywhere else, that transparent box is linked back to this slide. So it won't take you anywhere. Well, when you click it, it links back to the same slide. Does that make sense? Maybe confused? I'm not losing anybody? Okay. Yeah, so the transparent box is linked to, this is slide 1. So the transparent box is linked to slide 1. So when you click it, instead of advancing to slide 2, it says, oh, you're clicking this box. I need to go to slide 1, which is the same slide it's on. Yeah.
So is that layered behind those links that you have up front? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's layered on top of the background behind that box.
Oh, but that needs to be behind.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I said it's important to make sure you get all of those layers right, with your box being a color first and then make it transparent so you don't lose it, because I did it with it being transparent first and then I was like, I just totally lost the box. I don't know where it is.
So the transparent box is the first layer.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
generally.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to like mess around with it until you figure out those layers.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so because it depends on how many things you have linking different places. So like for this one, these boxes, either if they're one, this is where I can't quite remember which which little pieces of dirt link to what. So these are all individual squares. Nope. So the dig site is made up of individual squares of dirt. Some, here we go, like this one is linked to nothing. This is linked back to slide 2. So this square goes back to slide 2, not to a slide with an artifact on it. So that's how, because in real life, if you're an archaeologist in real life, you'll dig in some spots and not see anything. So that's replicating that experience for them. So when you do it, that's what this is all about, is finding those spots, those it's all about linking, really. So just like in a hyperdoc where you highlight things and link them, you're just linking boxes, essentially.
And do you have time to show some of
Yes.
this at our little
Yep.
walk us through?
Yep.
Or we could do it afterwards. So.
Yeah, no, totally. So that's what, I'm gonna show this first, because John Craig made an amazing gift.
I thought I was
Yeah.
reading your face.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah. So this is how to make, if you want to do it not a box, but it goes through really well how to do it. So if you want to make a random shape, you can make a polyline, but he shows how to link it. So he makes a box, makes it transparent. He makes it transparent first, and then links it. And he links it to just the next slide. But I will also walk you through it. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that that GIF was in there, because John made an amazing GIF, and I was like, I'm not gonna steal it. But yes, we'll just add a slide in here. So let's add, we're just gonna add a box. So here's a box. I'm gonna link this box to slide 2. And then I'm gonna link this box. I'm gonna write 2 in there, just so we know. I'm gonna make another box. And I'm gonna put it behind everything. I'm gonna change the color so we can see it better to black. So I'm gonna layer that box behind it. And I'm gonna link that box to, what's letter in? 15. To slide 15. So now when I present it, once it thinks, there we go. So now I have this black box. When I click it, nothing's happening, because I'm linking back to the same slide. If I click off of that box, now I go to the next slide. If I click on my box 2, now I jump to slide 2. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you, the whole making the box, or just showing how it works? Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't matter which one you make first. It's the layering. So I'm gonna make a box, and I'm just using, but you can literally make them any shape you want. So I'm gonna make a box. I'm gonna put 2 in it just so we can keep track of it. I'm gonna link it to slide 2. Then I'm gonna make a second box. I'm gonna change the color again so we can keep track of it. I'm gonna I'm gonna link it first. I'm going to link it to slide 15, because that's the slide we're on. So you always wanna link it to the slide that you're on. I'm going to send it to the back. Now this is the slide, this is the box that you would make transparent once you're done and you're happy with it. So now when I present it, and I click that box, nothing's happening. But when I click box 2, we jump to slide 2. So that black box is the one that you'll eventually make transparent once you're happy with it. But pro tip, wait to make it transparent. And just like those two things, the transparent box, like, it took me like way too long to figure that out. Way too long. Any other questions with this? Because I know that can be a little confusing, and but like that's how this whole thing works, is with the linking and the boxes. And like I said, you don't have to use boxes. You can use anything. So like my dirt, that's a clip art picture of dirt. Well, or I think I got it off of from the internet picture, public domain picture. So you can link anything using this same technique. Yeah, and then planning out your slide deck first. So that's why, especially if you're having kids do it, because this is another thing that's super powerful, especially if there's any ELA teachers in the room. Kids love doing this. Like, they love making their own choose your own adventure books, because they love reading them too. And that's another thing where you can not only also ELA, but fit it into so many other content areas, like history. How could history be different if instead of Julius Caesar getting stabbed in the back, he didn't that day? Make an alternate ending for history. Or science, what if climate change didn't happen, or something else? But having your kids plan it out first is so important, because this will then help them know how to do the linking, because that's a really hard thing for kids to figure out. And if they have it all planned out, especially because this one lays out what to put on each slide, and then if they get mixed up somewhere, you can use this to kind of help them figure it out. And obviously if their story is a little longer, you might have to add more boxes or help them figure that out. So that's kind of all the template stuff. And like I said, this GIF is in here, so you can reference it later. The polyline is cool if you want to do something that's not a normal box or circle or one of those other things. But that's kind of like a more advanced skill. So if you're like, I'm a little nervous about this, maybe start with like the simple ones first and then work up to there. But you have that to reference later. There's our simple. So next section is ideas. These are things that I don't have templates for, because you don't really need a template. So you can jigsaw with Google Slides, and jigsawing with Google Slides is really great, because you assign the groups in the slide deck. So everybody has access to all the slides. So maybe group A is or maybe just do numbers. Like group 1 is working on slide 1, group 2 is working on slide 2, 3 is on 3, 4 is on 4, and then when you come back with your groups, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4 makes the group, but everybody can still see all of the slides. So your whole class has access to them later, which is really great. This is a tip that all of a sudden I realized that not everybody knew this. You can change your slide size to whatever you want. So I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Kim, who's making her e-books for her staff, for her how-tos, or for her students on how to cut and paste, she can change her slide size to custom and make them 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. I did this actually for a grad class that I was in. I made a book and I changed my Google slide size to be 8.5 by 11. So you can, if you want like your interactive notebooks, you can change your slide size to be 8.5 by 11. I do this all the time. Custom, whatever you want. I know sometimes the standard versus the widescreen causes some issues on different screens, whether you're presenting different places. I have that issue sometimes. So you can flip back and forth between those. So that file page setup has all sorts of different options for you if you didn't know that that existed. You can have your students create memes. Again, this is one that just doesn't have a template. I do this a lot at the beginning of the year for rules, procedures, that sorts of things. I just came up with one on the spot over the weekend. I put no name, no fame. Don't forget to put your name on your paper. Kids love making them. Helps with that retrieval practice of the more times you do it. You could put all of their memes in one slide deck. You could print them out on your 8.5 by 11 size Google slide deck. All sorts of that. Also works with like digital citizenship, helping them knowing how to find those safe images. And obviously if you search for the images in Google Slides, you know that they're good. I thought I saw a hand somewhere. No? Okay. This is something else that is kind of cool. You can make stop motion animation in Google Slides. So if you click that star, we now have a shooting star. So if you don't know how to do that, whoops. There you go. There are the directions. And I'm going to give you some time to make this. So you choose an image. You're going to create a Google slideshow moving the image slightly each time. So you're just going to like move it a tiny bit for each slide. And then you do file, publish to the web, and advance it automatically every second. And you get the link. So there are the directions. I'm going to float around, let you make a quick one, and I'll be happy to help. And I have some chocolate. So it's almost 11. Time for a little chocolate break. I'm from near Hershey, so this was like a drive, and I was like, we still need chocolate even though we're not at Hershey. I feel like we're just going to take one pass at it. Yeah.
If you do search from the web, then that's a safe search.
Yep.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
If you, I'll say it on the mic so everybody can hear me. If you do images and you do search from the web, there we go. Once that actually opens, there we go. That brings up safe search and it brings up Creative Commons copyright free images too. Yep. Images, search from the web.
So all of these are Creative Commons?
Or like, they're safe to use. I can't remember which one. They're one thing or different. Yeah, you're making a whole bunch of slides. So your slideshow is gonna have like 10 slides on it with the image slightly changed each time. Yes, correct. Yeah, a whole new slideshow. Yeah.
You copy the image from Oh, move it. Oh, so smart, sorry. Yeah, I was just thinking about that, to be perfectly honest with you.